Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be starting a little mini-series here on Birds of a Feather, where we're going to be going over some head coaching candidates that I think that would be good for the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, the Ravens head coaching job is open. Last episode, we talked about some candidates that I would like to see as Ravens head coach. We talked about that last week. Obviously, we're back at it again today. We're currently in the mix of things here. There are, 10 total openings for head coaches in the NFL. 3 of them have been filled. The Bills fired Sean McDermott this morning, which was a very big surprise. And Sean McDermott obviously has had a lot of success in Buffalo. Not necessarily like Super Bowl success, but like AFC Championship appearances, division titles, all that stuff. So Sean McDermott is officially out there available as a candidate. But that is not what this video is about, because he is not someone that I want to interview. Do I think that the Ravens will interview him? Maybe. Not really sure about that. But today's episode is going to be all about Klint Kubiak, who is the current offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. The same Seattle Seahawks who stole Mike Macdonald from us. And again, I don't want to say stole, like it's not their fault. Obviously, they were looking for a head coach. Mike Macdonald was a very hot name at the time. They ended up getting him, and now he is 2 wins away from winning a Super Bowl. So Mike Macdonald obviously has a lot of attention right now, is getting a lot of love for a very good reason. But Ravens fans, they saw this coming from a mile away. They knew how good of a leader he was. They knew how good of a head coaching candidate and how good of a head coach he would become. And all of what we thought is now becoming true in front of our own eyes. So I just want to say congrats to Mike Macdonald. He's been going crazy. He's been doing his thing. Obviously, Ravens fans will forever have a special place in our hearts for him. So, and I'm also rooting for Seattle to win the whole thing, mainly because of Mike Macdonald, but also a little bit here because of Klint Kubiak. So, we're going to be starting a little mini-series today where throughout this week I'm going to be going over some candidates that we have interest in and some candidates that we interviewed and just some guys that I think could be interesting for the Ravens head coaching job. Whether I fully agree or whether I, kind of agree, I do kind of want to go over a broad, general variety of names here. But the first one that I want to go over is Klint Kubiak, who, for a lot of Ravens fans, and honestly including myself, really have Klint Kubiak as of right now at the top or near the top of the head coaching candidacy, and like this, the head coaching candidate list and who we want as the next Ravens head coach. Klint Kubiak is, for me, I'm not going to lie to you guys, he is probably, as of right now, at the top of my list. At the start of this entire thing, Brian Flores was at the top of my list, but seeing what Klint Kubiak did in the playoffs against the San Francisco 49ers, against that Robert Saleh defense, seeing what Klint Kubiak did, seeing the way that he runs the football, like especially the run schemes are incredible, seeing how good he makes JSN look. Obviously, JSN's an incredible player, but like seeing like the play calls and the schemes that he has for the offense on the running the football side and the passing game, it's incredible. I mean, he's made Sam Darnold look great this season. And Klint Kubiak really is kind of like a genius on offense. I went back and watched a couple of his interviews, a couple of his press conferences, just to kind of hear what he has to say about certain things, just his word choices and all that. And he really comes off to me as like a strong leader and someone who can be like that next big shift in the head coaching situation. An example of that last year is Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was considered the top head coaching candidate last offseason, went to the Bears. Obviously, they lost yesterday in the divisional round, but when you look at this Bears season, it was a 10 out of 10 season for them. He really took that team and really changed it. So I think that Klint Kubiak can really be something like a Ben Johnson. Except with this Ravens team, it's not necessarily them having to get back to like their winning ways in the regular season. It's about them, getting over that hump in the postseason and really having some postseason success. And that's just the main thing with Klint Kubiak. So I'm going to be going over a bunch of different things about Klint Kubiak, his past jobs. We're going to be going to the Seattle Seahawks page to see just the info from his resume. And we're just going to be talking about Klint Kubiak and if he would be a good fit for the Baltimore Ravens. So as y'all can see, here is Klint Kubiak. For those of y'all watching on YouTube, most of y'all probably already know what Klint Kubiak looks like. Obviously, he's the son of Gary Kubiak, who was a NFL coach. He worked with the Ravens for a little bit. He also was the head coach of the Texans a long time ago. His brother is Clay Kubiak, who is the offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. And there is a big rumor that Klint Kubiak, wherever he ends up getting hired, is going to hire Clay as his offensive coordinator. So Clay and Klint Kubiak are going to be calling plays for the offense. And I don't know who the DC would be, but again, the reason why I wanted to do Klint Kubiak as the first name in this week series that we're going to be doing all throughout this week, every single day, we're going to be going over head coaching candidates that I think would be interesting and just head coaching candidates that we're linked to, that we've done interviews with, and just give you my opinions on thoughts on if they would be a good fit. And Klint Kubiak, I can sit here and say with full confidence, 100%. I think he's arguably, as of right now, the top head coaching name. There's 10 total openings with the Bills included after today, after the firing of Sean McDermott. So there's 10 total openings, and 3 of them have been filled. The Giants, the Dolphins, and the Falcons, all those jobs have been filled already. Obviously, John Harbaugh, if you guys did not hear, John Harbaugh went to the Giants. He is the head coach of the Giants. Obviously, best of luck to him. All love for John Harbaugh for what he did here. But John Harbaugh is with the Giants. Kevin Stefanski is with the Falcons. And then just a few hours ago, Jeff Hafley is now with the Dolphins. He's the former defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Jeff Hafley is now with the Miami Dolphins. So that is now 3 teams already having their head coach for the future. So the available openings now that are left are the Ravens, the Bills, the Steelers, the Cardinals, the Browns, the Titans, and the Raiders. Those are the only teams left. Those 7 teams are have head coaching openings left. I think I saw a rumor that Robert Saleh could potentially get hired tonight or tomorrow by the Tennessee Titans. Apparently there's a lot of interest there, so we'll see what ends up happening. Obviously, when it comes to the position that the Ravens are in terms of how attractive is their head coaching opening, I still think that it's the top job, but the Ravens now have direct competition with the Buffalo Bills. If you want to say the Bills are the top job and the Ravens are the second, I'm fine with that. I think it's Ravens and then Bills, but if you want to say it's Bills then Ravens, I wouldn't be mad at you with that. But the Bills and Ravens are the top 2 head coaching destinations, and it's not even close right now. I would say that it's Ravens, Bills in the same tier. You can interchange them, and then there's a gap, and then I'd say the Steelers, just because the organization history, and also the fact that I think that they will be they're going to be very patient with their head coach. So I think that whatever head coach goes there is going to have the job for a lot of years. So Ravens, Bills, then there's a gap, then the Steelers, then there's another gap, and then I would say Raiders, Titans, Browns, and Cardinals. I personally think that the Cardinals have the worst head coaching destination, just because I think that their team is kind of a mess right now. I think the Dolphins have a bad opening as well, but Jeff Hafley's obviously over there. They really liked him, and we'll see what happens there. And again, one thing I do want to say about NFL head coaching and all that stuff is, obviously, the fans can't really do anything about it. This is a GM and ownership and just people in the building type of situation and decision. Obviously, we heard from Steve Bisciotti that Lamar Jackson is going to play a part in the whole head coaching process. Steve Bisciotti said that he's going to fly Lamar up from Florida to Baltimore to have him be a part of the interviewing process for the second round of interviews. And also, speaking about second round of interviews, the Ravens are giving Anthony Weaver another interview, which, if you guys watched my last episode where I kind of went over all the interviews that we did interview Anthony Weaver, and we're bringing him in for a second interview, I'm pretty sure tomorrow. If we hire Anthony Weaver as the head coach, I will be extremely, extremely disappointed. And if I'm going to be honest with you, the reason why I'd be disappointed is because I'm holding this Ravens head coaching job to a very high standard, kind of in a way where they can really get almost anybody that they want. Kind of same thing with the Bills. The Bills can kind of get anybody that they want. The Ravens can kind of get anybody that they really want. Vice versa, whatever. Because of this job is such a big opening, and I see Anthony Weaver as a solid defensive coordinator, and just I think that he's a good addition to have to a staff. But again, I just do not see Anthony Weaver as a head coach. I think that he will bring a lot of energy and a big attitude, and I think that will be good. But I think that the Ravens really need an X's and O's guy when it comes to offense or defense, more specifically offense. I would rather the Ravens go in an offensive direction, which I've heard is what they might do because they want to get the most out of Lamar Jackson and kind of solidify and prove that he is the team, and they want to get the most out of their quarterbacks to move forward and just have success, which is obviously great. But with the Ravens, I think they should go offensive-minded, but if they go get like a Jesse Minter or a Brian Flores, I'd be completely fine with that as well. But if they go out and get like a Klint Kubiak or a Mike McDaniel, I will be happy with that as well. And we're going to go over a couple of those names throughout this week, like Mike McDaniel, Brian Flores, Jesse Minter, those type of guys we're going to be going over. But again, enough of me yapping and talking about that. I do want to go over Klint Kubiak's resume here. We got it here over on the Seattle Seahawks page. Klint Kubiak, offensive coordinator, 12 years of experience. Went to Colorado State. Again, this is going to be a little mini-series that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing this series as we wait for the Ravens to make their decision on the head coaching hire. And I said going into this week on my Twitter, make sure to go follow the Birds of a Feather X account as well. I post a lot over there when we're not doing episodes. Post all the time over there, initial reactions, opinions, all that stuff. I was saying that I think that there's going to be 3 to 4 head coaches that get hired this week. Because we saw the Harbaugh signing, we saw the Harbaugh hire, we saw the Stefanski hire, and then today we see the Jeff Hafley hire with the Dolphins. And I think from rumors is that the Titans are going to be the next team to get their head coach, whoever that is. Heard Matt Nagy's in the mix, which is kind of crazy to me. But again, like as I was just saying, it's very much like the people in the organization making the decision that they think is good. So I'm going to put all my trust in Eric DeCosta. I'm going to put all my trust in Steve Bisciotti. And I'm going to put all my trust in Lamar Jackson as well, that those 3 and others can just come up with people that they think would be good for this job. And I'm going to trust them with their decision on who to get at head coach. And if it backfires and if it goes wrong, then obviously there's no one else to blame but them. But I'm going to trust that they're going to make the right decision for the long term in terms of getting this team over the hump and getting this team some playoff success. I'm going to put all the trust in them. I think they'll make the right decision. But some of these second interviews that we might do are a little scary. But again, I'm not going to freak out and overreact and worry until we actually get the hiring done, and then obviously we'll see who it is. But speaking of who I want it to be, Klint Kubiak. If we ended up hiring Klint Kubiak, I would be so happy. But again, let's just go over his biography just a little bit. He's got a lot of NFL experience. He joined the Seahawks staff on January 26, 2025, after 1 season serving in the same capacity for the New Orleans Saints. It will be his 12th season as an NFL assistant and his 16th overall for coaching. It was an injury-plagued offense for Kubiak in 2024. Starter Derek Carr was limited to only 10 games, with backup Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener serving the remaining games. Number 1 wide receiver Chris Olave had an 1,000-yard receiver season, saw his 3rd season cut to 8 games, 32 receptions, 400 yards. Kubiak relied on Kamara, who had a career-high 950 rushing yards, and then also he led the team in receptions for 543 yards, second most on the team, 2 touchdowns, whatever. He was the passing game specialist for San Francisco in 2023, played a pivotal role in the passing game for the 49ers, finished the regular season 2nd in NFL total offense. And again, he was the passing game specialist, and they finished 2nd in total offense and 4th in passing yards per game. And they were 1st in red zone touchdown percentage, 4th in third down conversion percentage. And also they were tied for the 6th fewest turnovers in the NFL. Brock Purdy had a 70% completion percentage for 4,200 yards with 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a league-best 113 passer rating. And again, you look at the weapons that he had on offense in San Francisco back in 2023. Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, all under. Again, Klint Kubiak was not the offensive coordinator, but he was the passing game specialist. So even Christian McCaffrey in the pass game, obviously George Kittle, you see how good these numbers were when he was in San Francisco. The results are there. I mean, you look at the results from him in San Francisco. Obviously, they were one of the best offenses in 2023, and I think a lot of that had to do with the passing game specialist ability from Klint Kubiak. 2022, he served as an offensive passing game coordinator / quarterbacks coach for the Denver Broncos, coaching 3 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings. First 2 seasons as quarterbacks coach, 1 with the offensive coordinator. 2021, the Vikings were 12th in total offense. And again, he has a ton of different abilities and a ton of different kind of accolades when it comes to all of his stuff that he's done. But when we look at the recent stuff, because obviously when it comes to head coaching and when it comes to a head coaching search, a lot of the times these GMs and owners are going to look at things you've done recently. But when we go and look at the things he's done recently, obviously in 2024, the Saints were kind of a mess. But again, it was an injury-riddled season for them, so he did his best with that. Chris Olave had a good season. Well, he only played 8 games, but he did good in those 8 games. You look at how good Derek Carr was at the beginning of the season under him. But the big thing that I look at is this season with the Seattle Seahawks, what he was able to do with Jackson Smith-Njigba, who led the NFL in receiving yards. Jackson Smith-Njigba had an incredible season. He was a first-team All-Pro, arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. JSN, he had an incredible year under Klint Kubiak being the offensive coordinator. You look at what like Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet did as a running back duo, running the ball on the ground. One of the best running back duos in the league under Klint Kubiak. You look at how good the offensive line play was under offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak. So you look how good Sam Darnold was under Klint Kubiak. So you look how good this Seattle Seahawks offense was. Obviously their defense plays a big part in that, coached up by Mike McDonald, but Klint Kubiak, offensive coordinator, he played a big part in the Seattle Seahawks season. And obviously their offense was incredible. JSN was incredible. And you kind of like look at what he did with the Seattle Seahawks this season. They were very high ranks in yards and passing yards and rushing yards and all that stuff. You look at what he did with the Seahawks in 2025 this year, and then you go look at what he did in 2023 as the passing game specialist and how good they were passing the football in San Francisco. And you really just start to think like what he could do in Baltimore with Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson especially, just the type of play calls that he could run when it comes to running the football. He, in a way, could make the offensive line play better and look better just because of the plays that he's going to be calling and stuff like that. And it can make the offensive line thrive even more. But again, the run game, the pass game, he could make Zay Flowers really take a step forward. Lamar Jackson, obviously, who would not love to have Lamar Jackson as their quarterback going into a head coaching position and someone who's also going to help call plays. So, again, I think that Klint Kubiak, everything he's done throughout his career with San Francisco, with the Saints last year, and obviously with the Seahawks this year, really does give him a very good resume and a very good case to be the next Ravens head coach. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds with Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, make sure to follow the X and the Instagram account. I post all the time on X. Make sure to give that a follow. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate all the support. I know it's been a little bit since I've posted an episode, but again, been doing some stuff also. This is the first time in the podcast that the Ravens season's not going on and the Orioles season's not going on. And the Orioles have been very quiet when it comes to the free agency market. So I'm kind of just waiting on the Orioles to do something so we can talk about that. Hopefully we'll get Fromber. Well, who knows? We'll see. They need to sign a starting pitcher fast because this offseason is slowly deteriorating from the Orioles. But when it comes to the Ravens, obviously the big thing is the head coaching vacancy. So when we learn any new info, any big info, we'll talk about it. From what I know, we're interviewing Anthony Weaver tomorrow for a second interview. I don't think we'll hire him, but it's a little scary that he's getting a second interview. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. But interviewing Anthony Weaver tomorrow. I think all the first round of coaching interviews are done. So we should be getting a new Ravens head coach here somewhat soon. But if we are going to be hiring Klint Kubiak, we are probably going to have to wait until after the Seahawks season is over, and that could potentially be till after the Super Bowl. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Very interesting to track this head coaching carousel. It's a very interesting thing just to hear all the updates and rumors of who's getting interviews, who's getting second interviews, all that stuff. It's very interesting. So very interesting time. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to be doing another episode. And tomorrow, I'm pretty sure we're going to do Jesse Minter tomorrow. So make sure to tune in tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Jesse Minter, if he fits well as the Ravens head coach. Again, this is a little mini-series. And for me, I think Klint Kubiak would 100% fit as the Ravens head coach, and I would be very, very excited for that. So again, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great sales day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see you later. Peace out.